And she could not, she had all these ideas because I walked her around the campus to look at things that could be changed and then bring that to the next interview. Well, she brought those things, and as our president, Dr. Haig, would say, hey, you know, that's a great idea, but right now we're doing this and this is the reason. She was trying to bulldoze through. She says, no, but you're not getting it to the CEO. No, you're just not catching the vision. Once you get, and it was right there, immediately we're like, oh, okay, we're seeing there's a lack in that humble piece. There's a lack in the smart of being able to read the room and see how he's reacting and seeing what he's saying. And then in those interviews, what I've done is instead of just, what I've noticed is I can teach a lot of the skill sets that we're doing, and I know it might be different in your field. Like if you're a dietitian, you probably need to know about nutrition and what foods to eat and everything, and so you do need that basis, but there may be some other skills that come along with the job that you're able to coach that person and teach that person, but it's really hard to teach character, right? It's hard to teach those values, and so even when it comes to the interviews, I've changed what I ask from just skill set questions to questions that are going to pull out whether they're humble, hungry, or smart. And so I'll ask questions about what's the most important accomplishment of your career. So that's always a great question because I can really key in at that point of what words they're using. There's some applicants that I'll bring in and they'll say I more than any other word during that explanation. You know, well, when I was this, I did that, and I accomplished this, and I made this happen. And these are people that I know who were on teams, and they never said we, or they never gave any credit to anyone else. And I'm able to decipher that much better. I love asking what's the most embarrassing moment in your career. It also will show, you know, whether somebody is humble or not, whether they're able to admit an embarrassment, and then how they were able to work upon that. I don't ever use the what's your greatest weakness. My favorite question is, finish this sentence. I would be a better leader if. I've never heard the same answer. It also brings out those areas for people where you know they know this, they know they're self-aware, and you're able to glean from that. And so I have more of those questions based off of that humbleness. Also hungry. What is the hardest you've ever worked on something in your life? Can you tell me about that? I asked what kind of hours do you normally work? What does that look like? And for us at One More Child, I'll also sincerely just tell people, if you don't like to travel, if you don't like to work extra hours, if you don't like having to come on the weekend sometimes, you're not going to like this job. If you're just looking for a very set schedule, and for us that's important, so you can kind of see, there's some people who tell you that, you know, I have other, you know, these other hobbies or these other things that I'm doing, so I try to come in at, you know, 30 minutes early, and I try to leave right on, you know, try to flex out that 30 minutes, or I leave right on time, right as that bell dings, and for a lot of us, I'm sure that's not always going to be possible. There's going to be some extra hours, there's going to be extra shifts that need to be picked up. And then on the smart, I asked them to describe a difficult colleague or boss and how they handled the situations, how they worked with them. I asked them, what do you do that others in your personal life might find annoying? We all have those qualities, right, that you know aggravate people. I am not always the most, I leave out some details, like I said, so even in emails, I'm already, you know, a couple steps ahead, because I've written this email thinking that they're already in my head and know exactly what I'm talking about, and they'll come back and say, man, we have no idea what you're talking about until I explain those early things. And so just knowing some of those qualities can help you determine whether somebody is smart. And one of the big things is sometimes you have to ask those questions multiple times. So sometimes I ask people the same question 3 times, but in different ways. Because sometimes first reaction, they're giving you that pat answer that they've already rehearsed a million times. And then you change it up a little bit, and then the third time you change it one more time, and sometimes you can draw out that honesty. There's somebody recently that I was interviewing that we're looking for, one of our big things is you have to be passionate about kids. Makes sense, right? We're one more child. Like, if you're missing that, you're probably applying for the wrong job. Dr. Hank, my boss, our president, was also doing the same interview, and he asked him, tell me about your passions. What are you most passionate about? And talk about all different things. Never says kids, never says families. And so he comes back to it again a little bit later, and still nothing about helping disenfranchised or hurting or broken or children. Asked another time, and still nothing. And even when finally let him, are you passionate about children? Very lackluster answer, like, oh yeah, I like kids. No, this isn't going to work. And so to be able to ask those questions, sometimes you'll have them, realize they're emotionally smart and realize what you're looking for and answer honestly. And sometimes you won't, but that allows you to weed them out, because I know people are nervous coming into interviews and sometimes giving them those opportunities. But we've seen it dramatically change our organization, change our teams, to have people, as well as just being able to sit down with my own staff and lead from an area of humbleness. I can easily admit my mistakes and my downfalls, and I surround myself with other staff who complement my weakness. Definitely don't want a bunch of Leons. We're not going to, we'll have some really great dreams and we'll work really hard and everything else, but sometimes we need to make sure that those checkpoints are there and that we're collecting the data and we're doing the research to ensure that the work that we're doing is effective and is making a big difference in the lives of children and families. And so I'm constantly coming back to this to make sure that me, myself, I am hungry, humble, and smart. I'm asking my coworkers, I ask my boss all of the time, what areas can I improve on, what can I do? And then as I'm building my teams, I'm looking at these areas. And I'm serving them as soon as I get on, I'm serving them, I'm building them up. I'm looking at their talent, I'm highlighting them, I'm celebrating the work that they're doing. Because it's not the job of a leader to make more followers, to have a bigger staff, but I believe that the true need of a leader is to make more leaders, to replicate yourself, to make other heroes, to make people who are going to thrive, because as soon as everyone's thriving in our organizations and our companies and our businesses, as they continue to thrive, it's gonna raise that tide. You're going to have great teams. You're going to make huge differences. And so it's been a huge benefit to us. And hopefully it helps you all. Hopefully it's going to help you with your teams that you're walking into or the teams that you're already in. And so hope that helps. I wanted to leave some time at the end just for questions. That can be questions about One More Child. It could be questions about what we spoke about with the Hungry, Humble, Smart, whatever's on your mind. Please feel free to ask. Yeah.
What was the name of the guy, the Patrick, who did the?
Yeah, it's Patrick Lencioni.
Can you spell that?
Absolutely. I got you. It's Patrick. Last name is Lencioni. He has a book called The Ideal Team Player. He also has a whole lot of other books. Sorry. He focuses on organizational health and dysfunctional teams, how to make them healthy. So he has lots of great books that are great resources if you're stepping into
Thank you.
different areas.
Does the author say whether or not, or suggest whether or not these qualities are more or less innate, or can they be developed?
So they can be developed to a point. He says it's really hard to take somebody with just one quality and bring up those other two qualities. And it doesn't mean just because somebody has two strong qualities and maybe has some of another quality, you can help coach them, help bring up those areas. Just sometimes pointing it out, we all have blind spots, can help. I've unfortunately had to let go of people that have already been hired who have only had a couple of those qualities, or have just had one of those qualities. I've had different people who are bulldozers, who are those strategic politicians who they were just hurting the health of our organization, and sometimes it's going to be better for you to let that person go and rehire than it is going to, you know, you can try, I'll always give people chances, and so we'll do supervisions and sit down with them and just really be honest with them, because as a boss, you know, to just have that transparency and honesty, you're really trying to help out that person. I believe most of the time they'll see that, but if there's no wiggle room, if you're not seeing an improvement, sometimes it's better to cut that tie than to keep that on your team, go benefit the team overall. Yes?
If we did want to volunteer, would we just, do we go online?
Absolutely. So if you're coming in as a group to come volunteer, you can do a volunteer application, or you can just reach out to my staff. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to our team. Engage@onemorechild.org. Engage@onemorechild.org. If you email that, it'll actually go to about 4 or 5 of my team members, and somebody will get back to you right away about getting a group out. So that could be your family, you know, an extended family, or your church, or your class, or your work. If you're coming as an individual, right on our website, onemorechild.org, there's a get involved in a volunteer application. We ask people to fill out that application because we have children on our campus. We do the background screenings, and so we want to make sure that we go through that process to ensure that our kids are safe.
How old does the volunteer?
If they're with a parent, they can be, we go case by case, so we don't always have like a definitive number, because I've met some like 13, 14-year-olds who are really mature, and I've met some 18-year-olds who are a little bit more like 10-year-olds. My God. So we kind of will go by case by case. Many times we'll want, especially with the warehouse, if they're under 16, we have forklifts moving, we have different things going on, so we ask a parent to be with them. But it just kind of depends case by case. There's going to be different areas. When it comes to packing backpacks full of food to go to Title I schools, any age can really do that. It's pretty easy.
Do we have any other questions?
No, I have a feeling you might be getting some emails from some individuals about volunteering. I do, we are kind of closing a little early, but I do have something for you, a slight thank you on behalf of Kaiser University for coming to volunteer. I know you're super busy, safe travels, and thank you so much, and please, any way that we can support, please let us know, we would love it.
Thank you. And I'm going to stick around, so if you have just one-on-one questions about the organization, about getting plugged in, I wanted to stay a little bit after, just to talk to you about those, so feel free to come over and talk. I also have my business card. We're always, too, looking for strategic partnerships. So if you are close to a business or a company or a corporation or a university or a school that you think would be good partners to help the lives of children here at One More Child, whether it's locally or globally, please feel free to connect them to me. I would love to get connected. November 16th is going to be the opening game for the Lakeland Magic. So if you bring food to that game, you'll also get a free ticket to go into the game. All the food will be coming to us, as well as they're doing partner packages. So people can buy, you know, $200 worth of tickets, which will be a whole package, or $500 or $1,000. Half of those proceeds will come to us. So Lakeland Magic have been an amazing partner for us. Their players come over and hang out with our kids and play with our kids. The same thing with the Detroit Tigers and a lot of the other sports teams. Our universities are highly engaged with One More Child. So we're always looking for more of those strategic partnerships. If you know any food distributors or stores that you think would want to get involved, a lot of times it's much easier if you all have that connection and say, hey, I know a really good organization that you should get plugged in with, than me just kind of showing up at their door and they're like, who the heck are you? So if you have any of those connections, please let us know. So thank you again for having me, and good luck as you all finish out the semester, the school year, and going into the holidays. So thank you again. Thank you.